Hey guys, it's Maddie. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title of this video, today I'm going to be doing a Q&A. I asked the other day on my Instagram for you guys to send in your questions, and today I'm going to be answering them. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of this video. I thought this would be fun because, as you guys know, I am immigrating. Just to answer some questions about that if you guys are wondering, or just questions about my life in general. But most of these are immigration questions. And then like maybe in a year's time, I like do another Q&A to maybe answer questions about like my first year there and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. Also, I'm so sorry about the lighting. I am so pale and this lighting's not helping the situation. And also my room's so empty because of obviously us packing, so it just doesn't look great. I actually did get quite a few questions which I wasn't expecting, so I don't know if I can get to all of them, but I'll try my best. I was going to answer all personal questions first and then UK immigration questions next, but I think I'm just going to go in the order that I received them, obviously the ones that I want to answer. What's your favorite book? If you watch my week in a life video, you already know this answer, or if you just know me or follow me anywhere, I am very vocal about loving this book, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. She's my favorite book currently. What A-levels are you taking? So for the UK, you take 3 A-levels. You can take a 4th one, but they don't really recommend it unless obviously like your university requires it or you're going into something medical. But anyways, I'm going to be taking psychology, sociology, and philosophy and ethics. Philosophy and ethics being one subject. Pray for me. A lot of essay writing coming my way. IGCSE marks. You really want me to expose myself? I actually did better than I thought I was going to do for my IG marks. Also context, IGCSEs are like your GCSEs, which is the like thing that you do in like a course that you do before your A-levels. The UK syllabus is so confusing. But yeah, I was expecting to do way worse in certain subjects because when I was doing my exams, I had COVID. So I missed a few of them and they had to use my mock marks, and my mock marks were not good. Well, in certain subjects they weren't good. But I got A stars, which is overall 90 to 100% in geography and English. Just an A, which is 80 to 89% in maths and physics. And a B, which is 70 to 79% in chemistry and Afrikaans. So yeah, 2 A stars, 2 A's and 2 B's, which I don't know the exact equivalents those are to the number system, like the 1 to 9. What Cambridge school did you go to? Out of safety reasons, I will not be saying the name, but feel free to DM me on Instagram, and if you look like a trustworthy person and if you genuinely like want to go into Cambridge and want to school in and around Durban, message me and I'll tell you the name. What do you think you'll miss most about South Africa? Obviously how beautiful it is and just like the nature and scenery. I think also just familiarity, because I was born in the UK but then moved to South Africa and lived in Joburg till I was like about 5. Then I moved to Durban and lived here until now when I'm 17. So just knowing everything. My family's very into like thrift shopping and charity shop, and we have learned a lot over the years about like where good ones are. So missing like good charity shop, Mug and Bean. I love Mug and Bean. Just yeah, familiarity mainly, which like obviously I'll become familiar in like my new surrounding area, but just like knowing people and knowing places and good bargains, and you're gonna have to relearn all of that. Obviously I'll miss people and stuff like that, but like South Africa as a whole, the nature and scenery and just the familiarity of like knowing certain places and thrift shop and restaurants and good deals, and if you need something you know exactly where to go. Cottagecore or alt? Don't do this to me. I don't know what my style is. Like I like looking feminine with a bit of like a grunge to it, so it's like cottagecore and alt mixed together. I don't know what the name of it is. Please, if someone look at my Instagram and give me an idea. I'm gonna just hack the system and say both. If you had to restart from 2020, what would you do differently? I think I'm happy about the way that like since 2020 my life has turned out, because in 2020 I changed to the Cambridge system, but I think it would be interesting to like stay in my old school and just see how different my life would be. Obviously I wouldn't know like this alternative side of my life where I changed to the Cambridge system and left my old school, but just staying in my old school and seeing who my friends would be, how I'm doing in my subjects, what extramurals I take, if I have any like leadership roles, how different my personality is, because I think your personality changes a lot depending on the people you surround yourself with. Like I'm very different from like 2018 to 2020 when I was still in my old school. So yeah, if I had to restart from 2020, I think just not because I regret moving from my old school, not at all, but just out of curiosity, seeing what my life would be like. It sounds cheesy, but I don't really have many regrets. It's more like a life lesson to me. Again, I don't regret moving, just out of curiosity factor. It'll be interesting to see how different my life would be if I stayed at my old school, because I guarantee you now I would not be moving overseas. I would probably be studying in South Africa, doing a different course to what I want to study now. Would you go vegan/vegetarian? I actually don't really enjoy meat. I was speaking about this with my friends literally yesterday. I only enjoy meat when it doesn't look like meat, like sausages or bacon or like patties or crumbed stuff. I don't mind that at all, but if you put like a chunk chunk of meat on my plate, like steak, even chicken sometimes. So yeah, I'm not actually a huge meat fan, so I could go vegetarian. It would kind of be hard because I still do enjoy certain types of meat, and sushi, but I don't think it would be like a train smash to me. Vegan is another story. So much respect for people who are vegan. That is too much of a hard lifestyle for me. I mean, again, I could really do it if I wanted to and tried to, but I'm honestly just not that interested. So yeah, possibly vegetarian, not vegan.
Editing Maddie here. Sorry for the really bad quality, and also my camera's on my keyboard, so you're just gonna get this beautiful angle. I think also with being vegan and vegetarian, I'm just too lazy, and I'll probably forget to like make sure my body's getting what it needs by getting like supplements and vitamins and stuff like that to replace what you get from meat, if that makes sense. So yeah, basically to summarize it, I'm just too lazy.
Biggest red flags in a guy. In a person, let's start there. Biggest red flag, being a Cancer sun. No, I'm joking. I'm a Pisces, so like I should get along with Cancers, but every single Cancer friendship that I've had, we always become so close so fast, and then it always ends like awkwardly or badly. It's never like a mutual like, oh yeah, we stopped talking and we can still catch up and speak sometimes. No. So I'm sorry if you're a Cancer sun. No, but actually, biggest red flag. I genuinely don't know. I feel like I have a pretty good gut instinct. So this sounds bad, but like it might not be a very specific thing or something that's like a deal breaker, but if my gut is like, even if I ignore it in the future, usually it ends up being an situation. But yeah, I would probably say like any forms of like narcissism in the terms of like no communication and that type of stuff. Like everything's about them. They don't understand that you're a different person to them, so you have different ways that you react to things. Like if they get angry at you for reacting to something differently. I don't know how to describe this, just not being open. Like I'm very much a person that like I have my ways where I react to things, but I know all my friends and how they react to things, and I'm very mindful of like not upsetting them. I don't know how to describe this, but I hope you guys know what I mean. So yeah, but also like narcissism and not really caring about you, respect for like waiters and parents and stuff like that. Anyone who's like that type of thing, red flag. Red flag. Also like not respect for animals, or they don't like animals. If they hate cats just because they're a dog person but they've never actually owned a cat in their life nor actually tried to become friends with a cat, that's the biggest red flag.
Me again. Not to mention someone that's racist, homophobic, fatphobic, dictates their opinions on other people and how they think other people should live. Just someone who has no respect for other people, basically. This is common sense, so I don't even know why I have to mention this. If you're surrounding yourself with someone that's racist, homophobic, fatphobic, transphobic, etc., etc., why? Anyways, that too.
Sorry, my answer was all over the place and didn't really make much sense. But basically someone who's very much like my way or the highway and isn't really understanding to other people's experiences and emotions and way like they react to things. But I'm very much a person that's like, even if I see a red flag, I'll be cautious but like still give you a chance. What's your #1 song on Spotify? Let's check. I know I can check on my computer, but I think I can check here. Okay, I just checked since the end of last year. Till now, my top song is First Love / Late Spring by Mitski. Biggest regret. Again, like I was saying, I don't have many regrets, but currently the one thing that's kind of been like over the top of my head is me not taking bio as a subject in grade 10.
Did you guys miss me? Okay, so basically I went on a whole long tangent here. To summarize, I didn't take bio in grade 9 because I did bad on this one test that I studied really hard for, even though like the rest of my class did bad, but I had the mentality of like, oh well, I'm bad at this, I might as well just give up. My granddad's been in and out of hospital recently, and just seeing like medical equipment and the whole medical field, it would have been really cool to go into that, but I don't think I have the heart and stomach for it. But it just is really interesting to me. It's just, I regret just not taking bio and pushing through with it. Even if I didn't go into medical, it's still just a really interesting subject. But I'm still happy with the subjects I took and where I'm going with my life. It would be nice to have that door open for me if I did take it.
Will you still be online on Discord?
I need to stop. I went on a whole tangent again. Long story short, yes, I don't use it often. It is on my computer. I check it every time I open my computer. It's not as often as like 2020, but yeah, if you DM me, I'm gonna see it.
What tattoos do you have? So you can actually go watch the video for my birthday this year. I put the little tab up here and I got my first tattoos in it. I have all the meanings and stuff like that in that video, so you can go watch it. But basically I got this equal sign and these elephants, and then like in the beginning of May I got this little heart that, which is matching with my mom and sister. The meaning behind this one is basically because of us immigrating, my mom's sister and I are going to be apart for like the first time ever, and we're very close. So we wanted to get a matching tattoo, and we just thought this heart design would be cute because I also always use this in texts. And it's obviously got a little 3, and it's the 3 of us who got the tattoo. We all got it on our left side here, which like obviously the left side by your heart. I know, very cringy. How are you able to immigrate? So I was actually born in the UK. My parents were out there on an ancestral visa and they had settled status. And then when I was like 6 months old, they moved back to South Africa. They didn't get their British passports, and I wasn't eligible to get a British passport. But then in like 2020 we re-asked and they were like, yeah, the laws have changed, you can. Because I was born there, it is my birth country. They had settled status. They weren't really planning to move, and they just randomly decided like, yeah, let's go. So I'm able to go because I have a British passport. My mom and dad are able to go because my dad can get an ancestral visa through his grandfather, and then my mom's able to go because she is obviously married to my dad, so she's like a dependent under his visa. Dream job. For the longest time I wanted to go into geology, and if I was staying in South Africa I probably would still go into geology, but currently I would like to go into criminology. I'm not 100% sure if it will be just criminology in general, like a criminal profiler, or the law side of it, or the psychology side of it. I still have like 2 more years of school, and then I might be taking a gap year, so I still have time to figure that out. But yeah, for now my dream job is something in criminology. What are the biggest challenges you are facing and how are you dealing with them? Suppression or therapy?
Or escapism through Sims and reading, that works too.
What type of schooling will you be in and what subjects will you study? Well, obviously I already answered the what subjects I will be studying thing. And basically I'm going to a 6th form, which how it works in the UK is you have your high school, which is basically up to year 11. And then you can either leave school and start working, or you can go to a college, which is more like courses. So like courses in cosmetology, courses in like woodworking, courses in whatever. Like it trains you for a specific job. Or you can go to a 6th form, which is where you do subjects and you take like your A levels, which is what I'm going to be doing. So technically my high school years are over and I'm going to a 6th form. Whoa! Do you think the UK is going to be the place for you, or do you think you will move again after you're old enough / the time is right? I thought about this a lot even before like immigration was a thought or like a possibility in my life. I can't think of a country and be like, that's the one for me. I think every country has its flaws and its positives, but for right now the UK seems like the best option for me. Obviously I'll see living there and like jobs wise and stuff like that. Only time will tell pretty much, but I think that's the best option right now and for my future. Or I think like places in Europe primarily. Just for me the biggest flaw is like the language barrier, but we'll see what the future holds and where I end up. You look like the moon emoji. Round face problems. Yeah, I very much do, you're not wrong. Where are you moving to? Hertfordshire in the UK. Why'd you start making videos? I'm pretty sure you told me this, but I forgot. I have videos from my old computer of me like reviewing Monster High dolls and Shopkins and that type of stuff. I just grew up watching YouTube. I primarily watched the Mommy and Gracie show, which I think the name has changed now, but yeah, them like doll hunting and stuff like that and like reviewing things. So I started to like film myself reviewing stuff on my computer, and like I thought I posted it to YouTube, but obviously I didn't. I would like pretend that I had like so many following and like a YouTube channel, and I always like wanted to make videos and do that type of stuff. And then the one day I bunked school because I hated my primary school, and that day I just posted a random video. I have like a whiteboard, it's obviously taken down now because we're moving, and my sister like drew Zara and made like some little song to like one of Selena Gomez's songs that was popular at the time. I don't remember what it was, and just like filmed a little video, literally like a vertical video, being like, haha, look what my sister puts on my whiteboard. And like I filmed another video being like, welcome to my YouTube channel. So yeah, that was the first time I actually posted something. And also on the same day was the first time I started actually posting to Musical.ly, which we know when I was a muser. But yeah, I've always like had a passion for filming and making videos, and now I just do it as a creative outlet and for like a memory journal type sake thing. How is CAPS and Cambridge different? They are very different. They're very different in many aspects, even just like minor differences. There's definitely differences in the way that they test. Cambridge is very much stricter. You have to say these points to get the marks, but this is for like every single subject in Cambridge.
It's me again. Like in CAPS, I found that I could like, if I didn't know the definition, I could like explain it and I'd still get the mark. Whereas in Cambridge, if you don't say the word that they're looking for, it's wrong, even if it's the right definition. education. Like they're very, very strict with their mark scheme.
You have to do past papers. They're very sometimes ambiguous in the way that they ask things, and you can answer it like different ways, but they're looking for like the one answer and it's like has to be the correct one. So doing past papers, like you have to do in Cambridge, because like they follow kind of a pattern on how they ask things and how the papers are set up. I mean, like for our mocks. Also, yeah, with CAPS, you don't do mock exams, which is basically like trials at the end of your matric year. Like you do it in matric, but for Cambridge, you do it for your IGCSEs and A-levels. But yeah, just putting into perspective, my maths mock, I got like a 50% on it because I didn't do past papers, and then I primarily studied just using past papers for math, and at the end of the year I got 81% overall or 82%. I got an A overall for maths. CAPS is very much, I found, in certain subjects, give the definition of this. Here's the definition. What is this? Match this to this. Like very, here's the material regurgitated back to me. Whereas Cambridge is very, you have to apply yourself and learn it. For example, in geography, maybe you write like 2 paragraphs at most. Obviously, I'm basing this off like up to grade 10 work.
Hey besties, it's me again, it's another day. I just looked at a matric past paper and like I don't know why I said you like barely write paragraphs, because obviously you do, but I meant like essays, because in Cambridge a lot of the like paragraph questions are essay questions. And also I noticed in the matric paper it says like 2 times 1 or whatever, which gives you kind of your mark allocations in the sense of like you have to have 2 points but you don't have to elaborate on it. That's what the 2 times 1 is. Whereas in Cambridge there's none of that, so it's very much, it's 7 marks. You can guess where you get the marks from. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's also another difference.
Whereas Cambridge is like, okay, you learned about tsunamis. Now write a case study for 7 marks saying how a tsunami is formed, why it's formed. Give me an example of where a tsunami happened. How did that affect the people and the surrounding area? The date that the tsunami happened. Like it's very application based, which I think is a way better way to teach someone. Like you obviously can apply it more in the world instead of just like, I'm going to regurgitate this back to you, but actually not know really what it means. You have to grasp the concept, understand it, and be able to apply it. I feel like that's the biggest difference. It's very much more essay based in like obviously certain subjects. I mean, in like maths and physics and chem, my marks dropped significantly when I moved to Cambridge, and you have to like really work to keep them up. Whereas for like geography, English, even sometimes Afrikaans, my marks improved drastically because I am a very good essay writer. So yeah, they're very different in like different ways. Also, like obviously CAPS is like high schools from grade 8 to grade 12. Okay, cool, you're done with school, go to university. Whereas obviously like Cambridge is high schools till year 11, then you can leave school, you can do college, or you can go to A-levels. When you do your A-levels, those are for 2 years. You write your A-levels, okay cool, now you can go to university. So because of that, also just to answer like another question, no one asked this, but just for context, I was a year younger than my grade. So I'm 17 now, I should be matriculating this year. However, when I was 15, I moved to Cambridge, started my IGs middle of 2020, wrote them at the end of 2021, because also something different with CAPS in Cambridge is that Cambridge, your IGCSEs fall over a couple years, and then at the end of the last year, you write it on like the contents of like the 4 years that you were learning about. Whereas you only really do that maybe in like grade 10 and 11, but primarily grade 12, you do write like grade 10, 11 and 12 work. And then obviously with your A-levels, those also fall over 2 years. So you don't just like write at the end of the 1 year, okay cool, you're done, move on to the next year. Like you have to go back to the previous year and do that work too, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that's why I wrote at the end of 2021. I was 16 at the time obviously, and then now because I'm immigrating, I'm starting school again in September. I had like a 6-month gap now, so I'll start in September, finish like June, July next year when I'm 18, and then start my second year middle of that year, finish again the following year June, July when I'm 19. So I'm only finishing school when I'm 19, because just of the way that like you start in September, end in June, July, and my birthday's in Feb, and also the way my school does it. I know that Ashton and other schools that do Cambridge do it a little bit differently, but for South African universities you only need your AS level, which is 1 year of your A-levels. So the way that my school set it out is that you do up to your AS levels, which is what I would have been doing this year, and then you can go to uni. But like if you're going to something medical, you'll have to probably do A-levels, so then you do like another year of schooling. So even if I stayed in South Africa and wanted to go into geology, I probably would have still had to do full A-levels. So I probably would have only finished school when like next year when I turned 18 instead of when I turned 17. And that's still the same concept with the UK. It's just obviously you start the school years differently. So instead of ending in December, I'm ending the following year June, July. I hope that makes sense. It's very confusing. I also find Cambridge definitely to be more independent study. I mean, at my old school, it'll be you have an hour lesson, then you move to your next class, have an hour lesson. You'll have to do your homework when you get home. term, whereas the sixth form that I'm going into and my old Cambridge school, you have like maybe 2 to 3 lessons a day, and then the rest is free time periods where you study yourself and teach yourself. And it's kind of like university where you have to like teach the next chapter yourself, so when you go into your lesson it's more revision than like the teacher teaching it to you. So you have to be very, very disciplined, because otherwise you will fall behind. You have to be very diligent and disciplined, otherwise Cambridge is not for you. It's just known to be a hard syllabus, and like it is. Like they don't spoon feed you at all. Also, at least with my school last year, is we finished our syllabus in June, and then the other half of the year was spent with revision and studying, whereas CAPS, you literally work up until like a couple weeks before your exams, and then you have like that time to study and then do your exams, which there's pros and cons to both of those. But Cambridge, you have to work fast and be on top of everything to finish in June so that you have the rest of the time to study, whereas CAPS, you can be more dragged out with it, but then you have less time to study the content. So it's more just like what you prefer. Oh, and a big thing that I've noticed, like with having independence, Cambridge is very much, at least at my old school, we're giving you the content, we're revising it with you, we're teaching it to you. It's your own fault if you fail. You have to put in the effort. Whereas CAPS, it's like we'll go back to things and we'll spoon feed you more. I'm sorry if you do CAPS, it sounds like I'm just like, I'm better than you, but like Cambridge is harder. And also what I found, I've obviously done like interviews for my new school that I'm going to in the UK, and at least for UK Cambridge schools, I can kind of say the same with South Africa, but primarily UK, you're treated not like the teachers are more superior than you. Like you're treated like another human being. You can have a conversation with them. At least this is what I found. Obviously I haven't started the school year, but from like what I've heard and seen and like with my interview, it's more welcoming, and we want you to actually have an education no matter how long it takes and stuff like that. Whereas CAPS is like, you have to pass at this time, at this age, this date, we're superior than you. You can come speak to your teachers, but they're gonna look down upon you if you don't understand something. I have more of a say than you because I'm a teacher and I'm more superior. Whereas obviously like you still have to respect teachers in the UK, but from what I've seen, obviously this could be a very different experience once I actually start going there. What I've seen and heard and experienced so far is very much we're on the same level.
Also, the exams are way more intimidating. Like at my old school for CAPS, if you were sick, you had to provide a doctor's note, but then you could write it like the next week. Cambridge, you have to, at least for my school, like for international students, you had to pay to write your exams. I think we paid like around 10 grand or something just to write my like 6 subjects. And they have like invigilators from like the British Council, I think, come and like invigilate the tests or the exams. And they actually have like the papers in like parcels that have been shipped from the UK. Like they're printed in the UK, and they cut like it in front of you, and they opened it in front of you, passed it out, you write, okay, cool. And then they take it back from you and like stack it together and put it back into a different parcel and ship it back to the UK. Then it gets marked in the UK. So I think you can never be biased with it. Like I found in CAPS schools, your teachers would mark it, so they'll be like a little bit more lenient, like just maybe without even noticing it. It's like writing South African matric when you're not even in matric. Like it's very intimidating. External people mark it. Yeah, my like principal literally told us that like the workload that we got last year for our IGCSEs and like the pressure and stress that got poured into us and like the exams and stuff like that is like somewhat equivalent to the South African matrics. And it's kind of true. I mean, in certain subjects, I see like people from my old school posting about certain topics, and like I did that last year already. And I still have to do my A levels, which is like building on top of that. So it's much harder, way more pressure. Like I said, it's like you're doing a matric when you're not a matric, and then you go into A levels and do it again, but with more pressure. So yeah, very fun.
So yeah, sorry for such a long reply, but it's just so interesting the differences. Do you prefer CAPS or Cambridge? Like how I was saying, there's pros and cons to everything. It just depends on you as a student. I honestly prefer Cambridge because it gives you more freedom. Not even with like expression, with like you can wear what you want, you can do your hair how you want, you can get piercings if you want, but also you gain more independence, and it like teaches you for university.
It's me again, but on a different day. I went to another rant again, basically saying that Cambridge prepares you for university better than CAPS. Like in CAPS, they're always like, they're not going to spoon feed you in university. You need to work hard. You need to be independent and stuff like that. Whereas Cambridge, the way that they already teach you is kind of how they teach you in university. So it's a big help for that. Like living proof that it does help is my sister. She was doing CAPS like me, and then she switched to Cambridge. And while like people in her class battled, she was getting distinctions the whole year, and she just graduated with distinctions. And I don't think, as far as I'm aware, she never really battled properly. Obviously, it like wasn't easy, but because the way that Cambridge like taught her how to study for herself, how to prepare, just all these things, it really helped her in university. So yeah, that's like another pro of doing Cambridge. It's very much university style teaching, and you don't battle as much with the transition into uni. Also, about the whole gaining freedom thing, I found it so stupid in caps. You'd have to write a certain way for a certain teacher, and set out your work a certain way, and use certain books. Like, I had to have a separate book with my classwork stuff, and like a book for like what I study with, because for me, there wasn't a lot of freedom in that sense of, this is the way I study, so I'm going to set out my work like this, and the teacher needs to deal with it, basically. Whereas Cambridge is very much do it in the way that you can study the best, and the teacher adapts. So for example, I prefer books that have like the grid instead of just straight lines, and like I couldn't use those books in my old school, but in Cambridge I could. It's just little things like that that make such a big difference.
But overall, I would prefer Cambridge, honestly. It's harder, it's more work, but it's more rewarding because you put in so much effort and you get more freedom and more opportunities.
I am so sorry, this video is already like half an hour long, so I've cut out a bunch of questions. I'm sorry if the first place I couldn't get to yours, but the one question I need to answer that I did cut out because the answer was too long. The question was something along the lines of, what animals do you want in the future? What dogs do you want in the future? And I basically just said I want cats. I'd like to get a bunny in the future. I prefer small dogs over big dogs, so like small dogs. And then I went on a rant about chihuahuas' rights. If you're a chihuahua hater, leave this channel. They are angels. Half of the time they're just aggressive because they're a hated breed and everyone's mean to them. I think it's definitely one of those situations where you don't like them, but then you actually have them and you realize how amazing of a breed they are. It's like sushi. I hated sushi before trying it, then I tried it. It's my favorite food now for like 10 years. So if you take anything away from this video, Chihuahua rights, they are amazing. They don't deserve the hate they get. They are icons. They are legends. They are the moment. How could you hate this?
Yeah, I think those are most of the questions. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that also in a year's time you guys know when I'm doing this video again and you can ask more questions. Yeah, have an amazing rest of your day and I'll see you guys the next time I post. Bye!